Hey guys, I know you're excited to write your very first script or even make a really good screenplay. So here I'm going to show you some of the best ways on how we're going to start writing a screenplay from start all the way to finish. If you know me, I love helping filmmakers to make better movies and to be successful in their career. So without further ado, let's begin. So the first thing, of course, is we need to get an idea of what our story is. Now, you're probably already at this point, but if not, don't worry about it, because there's so many different ways on how you can approach even finding different ideas. So the first thing you need to start is you need to figure out what's the best way of how you like jotting down ideas. Some people prefer writing down ideas. For me, I like typing it out, or I like having a collection, like a folder of pictures or a folder of different YouTube videos for inspiration. Whichever works for you is just fine. The thing is, you just need a very fast way where as soon as you get an inspiration, you can write it down, save it, document it, whichever you prefer, so that you can go back, you can check it out at a later point. Now, as you can already tell, some of the different ways will depend on how you like to receive ideas. Some people like to read. If you like to read different books, read different magazines, read stuff online, that's a great way how you can jot down ideas. Even just if you watch a movie and you get an idea of or a concept, writing it down is going to be a huge help. If you get a visual idea, maybe you're imagining a scene, some sort of moment, even a picture, a still frame, just draw it down, save that picture. That can be conceptual art, save it later on. I also like going on YouTube, and if I find a YouTube video that's inspirational to me for any reason, whether it's the music, whether it's the story or the action, save it to a playlist so you can go back to that later. Another way is you can go on YouTube, go on Google Images, and search up keywords that you're going to want to look up. So for me, I like looking up fantasy or dark fantasy. There's going to be tons of Google images. Basically find whichever images stand out to you the most that you really like, and then save that to a folder on your desktop. Then whenever you're looking for ideas, go back and go through those photos, and then sometimes those ideas will just come to you. You can also go on iTunes, go on Spotify, go on YouTube, listen to music. And again, if there's something there that just inspires you and gives you some sort of an idea, save it and then just play that music over and over and over again so you get an idea. The whole point is that you need to go through all these different ways to collect your ideas and then put it in one spot so you can just have all these ideas go together. Because once you have enough ideas where a story is starting to form, they can go to the next step. So now that you have enough ideas where a story is starting to form and you have sort of the general idea of what the story is going to be and who your protagonist is, who's your villain or your antagonist, what's the point of the story, what's the message. Once you have a lot of those information figured out, the next thing you want to look into is what's called a beat sheet. A beat sheet is basically a list of all the individual moments that are going to be your scenes that's going to carry the story from start all the way to finish. So this is where you're going to have a moment where, say, a character gets introduced to another character, or the villain shows up and does this, or your hero is trying to do this and something else prevents him. Or her, whichever you prefer. This scene is to establish this information. This scene is to do X. This scene is for the romance to kick in. The point is, you need to create this list. This is basically the individual scenes that's going to make up your story. And the whole point of this is to give you a nice little overview of what the story is going to do and how you're going to deliver that story. Again, this does not need to be in huge detail. The point is that each individual beat or scene is basically just that. It's a scene. What's the important information that's going to be covered in that scene? This can have as little to as much information as you want. If you want to put in dialogue, you can, but that's not important. Again, this is just the general idea. What's the purpose of the scene? What is a character trying to accomplish in this moment? Or what are we trying to establish in this moment? It's either establishing, or it's an action, or it's a reaction. That's usually one of the three things that's going on. So once you figure out that part, once you get the general idea of your beats, then you can start thinking of other details to put in. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. It could be just, okay, so your character is trying to accomplish this. How do they do this? Well, they could be fixing this, or climbing this, or running here, or doing this. Maybe talk things out, and here's some of the issues that we need to cover. Maybe your hero is fighting the villain and this is how they're doing it, and maybe here's some of the things that they're trying to do in the fight scene. You're basically adding more information to these beats, and the more information you can add to these beats, the better. Again, this isn't a script yet. You're just trying to fill in those beats with as much information as possible. And trust me, the more information, the the better. It doesn't have to be super in detail, but just enough so you get a better understanding of what that scene is and what's going to look like. Then, once you have a beat with as much information as you can think of, the next step is to then put it into a script. I know a lot of you are thinking about, okay, well, what's the best script or what should I be using? There really isn't a right or a wrong script software to use, as long as it can format your script in a particular way. There's tons of them out there. I have loads of lists of different script softwares, a lot of them for free that you can access. So if you're interested in those, I do have a bunch of playlists and a bunch of videos down in the description below that you can go check out for free and good script softwares. And also, when you go to those videos, please hit the like button because that really helps out too. So once you find a script software that works for you, then you're basically going to your beat sheet, and now you're translating that information into a script format. So now you're taking consideration of what are the actions, what are the individual actions that's going on, what characters are in that scene, what are they saying. Don't worry about, oh, is it going to sound clever, I gotta think about this to make sure it looks good. Just get it down onto a script. A lot of times, and this is something that I struggle with too, you can get really caught up and spend a lot of time sort of procrastinating because, oh, you want to make sure the script looks good. This is not the part where the script looks good. This is the part where you're just taking the beat sheet and putting it into a script form. That's all this step is. You need to get this information into a script. Don't worry if it's good or not. If anything, if you want to rush, go right ahead. Like, just whatever you need to do is just so a character can get from A to B. That's it. Don't worry about being fancy. Don't worry about being clever. That's going to come later. Getting this first draft done is super, super crucial. So just get it done. Don't worry about it being fancy. Don't worry about making it glossy. That's going to come later. Once you start to write down the script, again, this is about finding the individual information and the little details that's going to make up your story. Okay, so once you're done that, now you have your first draft. This is also what's known as your vomit draft, because you're going to go back and you're going to notice that it's actually a really, really terrible version of your script. That's good. This is a good thing. Take a deep breath in and out. This happens with everyone. Your first draft is going to be your worst draft of your screenplay. That's fine. Again, the whole point is to get your beat sheet information into a script. Now, what you're going to want to do is, as soon as you write down that script, that first draft, take a small break. A few days, a few weeks. You want to get some of those initial ideas and emotions out of your system. You're going to go back and work on that first draft without getting emotionally attached to any particular beats or information. And now you're going to be really, really critical about, okay, so what works, what doesn't work, and if so, why isn't it working? How can we fix it? My general philosophy when it comes to fixing a script at this point is, if you can remove a scene, a character, a line, an action, a prop, a setting, a sequence, anything, if you can remove any of that and the story either continues to flow very well or even better than it used to, then take it out. And if there is important information that should go in, figure out another way to tell that information and to tell that story. And you know what? This is not going to happen in 2 or 3 drafts. It's going to happen in a handful of drafts, and don't worry about it. Don't worry about the number of drafts. That's not important. I've spent dozens of drafts on short film scripts. It's okay. Every time you make a draft, the story is going to improve. It's going to get better. So you might be wondering, okay, well, when do I finish the script? When is the screenplay even ready? My general advice is, first off, your script is done once you start shooting it. And even so, you're going to be making adjustments to the script as you go along. So you might even be writing lines before you record audio in post. You might be writing the script as you're shooting the movie. You might be writing the script as you're editing. So really, to answer that question, when you're done making the movie once it goes into distribution. That's when you're actually done. As soon as it's premiered, as soon as it goes into a festival, as soon as it goes into a DVD or a distributor, it doesn't matter. As soon as it goes away, that's it, you're done. You can no longer continue making that movie. It's over. So spend as much time as you feel you need to improve that script. I remember someone once said on a podcast, there's the script you write, the script that you shoot, and that's the script in the final movie. It's going to change, and that's a good thing. It evolves. It gets better over time. Don't be afraid of making changes. And you know what? Even if your movie is done and you notice mistakes, okay, it happens. It happens to the best of us. So just learn from those mistakes and improve on the next script. Just keep going until you feel comfortable with your script. The other way I noticed when you're really done with a screenplay is if you're writing it and you notice that when you're making adjustments, it's not big problems, it's maybe like the wording. So if you're changing small words here or there in your dialogue, you're pretty much done. Because at that point, there isn't anything major, it's just how you think of the dialogue. And you know what? That dialogue's gonna change with your actors. They may not necessarily say it word for word, and that's fine, that's gonna be up to you. So as soon as you start messing around with the individual words of a script, I'd say don't worry about it. And you know what? Even if you're stuck, if you're looking at something, you're like, oh, I'm not sure what to fix, I'm not sure what to do, you know what? Take a break. A few days, a few weeks, completely get the script out of your mind, and then come back and then work on the script. You'll be amazed how much of a fresh new point of view you have on your script, so you can start making big changes right away. So with that, I hope it helps you guys out. And you know what? I also have a big playlist with tons and tons of tutorials on how to make your movies better, which I will put up in the cards and in the description down below. Please go check out the videos that I've supplied for you as well, especially on script softwares. And good luck with your videos, guys. Please make sure to like this video, smash the subscribe button. Good luck with writing your scripts. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. I do respond. So good luck, and I'll see you next time.